Hello, I'm trying to see that recording is on. That's fantastic. We're going to talk today about emotional intelligence, as you can see. And it's just to understand the notion, the idea of emotional intelligence and how it's important in our lives today. Some people may think that emotional intelligence doesn't link to IQ, which is the intelligence based on um, the skills that you develop, like maths, for example, engineering, medical. Um, so what we have here is talking about emotional intelligence and is enhancing professional and personal lives. So overview of what we'll be covering today. We'll have to explore emotional intelligence with its 4 or 5 essential elements and how it's essential in the growth and the personal, professional success of people. Um, so practical strategies for enhancing EI, or we call it also EQ, skills such as self-awareness, empathy, and resilience. We'll focus another time on self-awareness and personal development. Uh, so we'll go into detail and we'll see through what we can introduce today. So emotional intelligence is taken over now at least 30 since 30 years ago, and it's about delving and exploring our strengths and weaknesses, our emotions, and use them intelligently. So many people think emotional intelligence is dealing with emotion, means expression of emotion, the natural human way of expression of emotions such as happiness, sadness, etc., anger. Um, so in the field of business and developing personal skills towards success, what we want to enhance and think about is intelligence side in key in exploring our emotions. So how to use our emotions, how to understand them, and how to control them so that we benefit from them. So there is a tendency that people try to cover their emotion, not to show their emotions as a sign of strength, as a sign of leadership, as a sign of being manly in society. All these ideas are applicable and we know them, but we want to challenge them somehow and see to what extent emotion have to be hidden from our lives. So is it the case to hide your emotions is the sign of success and self-control? Hiding them to what extent? Is there a recognition of these emotions or just hiding them, oppressing and suppressing mainly emotion? So many people, of course, many people and all of us have been working on IQ. We wanted to be successful and knowledgeable in our fields and our expertise. We wanted to go deep into our studies or to be experts and masters of our specialty. However, it's not enough because we discovered that without using emotion properly would lead to a lack of understanding, a lack of, for example, let's take a leader in a company. who doesn't use emotions to understand people, to get into the trouble they are going through, what they are saying, their frustrations, that would be a recipe for failure. So I have an example lately from a company where the top leader, the CEO, um, answered the frustration of the executive when they approached him, saying that they feel not appreciated, they feel that all their efforts are never enough. So his answer was, because you failed to communicate. Um, you are important, your importance to the others. And what happened is seven of the leaders in the company have resigned the same day. So it was a very hard situation to manage without the people that were trained or know what's going on in the company. And it was enough at that moment just stop, listen to them. Um, if it's not, even if it's one person approaching them and saying that what they feel is neglect or not appreciated or something like this, it was enough to listen to people, let alone if it's a group of leaders all together join and saying the same word. So emotional intelligence at that moment, the CEO might have felt attacked because it's maybe too much for them at that moment to hear that they weren't at their expectations. So as a leader, he wanted to cover this failure of understanding their emotions and being there for them by control, by attacking. And that wasn't the good strategy, as you can see. So it was enough to recognize, listen, and to work on improving this because nobody is perfect. So in this world, as you can see, dominated by money, finance, bank, companies, um, a world within a world, a parallel world that governs really the visible world. When I speak visible, I say the visible world, I mean the uh, finance is also an invisible world. There are many strategies and many ideas and many political decisions that are around what is going on in the visible world coming from the finance world. Um, so in that world, there is a lot of, I feel, you have to be the smartest, the fastest, a world where beyond us, because we don't, who among us, the normal people, can know what radio waves and fiber optic cables, how they work together, what we have um, from that. So we really don't know. Uh, so what we want to know is how can we emotionally integrate a world dominated by mathematical intelligence and financial intelligence? How can we cope? How can we balance? How can we use the world with what the world needs? Understanding. Um, so we all watch programs like uh, um, yeah. So we watch programs where CEOs talk about a point of their life where they were building, and working hard. And at a certain point, they stopped and they said, I felt tired. I felt empty. I felt everyone was telling me, how did you get the millions or the billions? How did you get there? And I didn't feel happy. So they keep repeating. It's um, something that we have heard many times. So there is a replica, there is a pattern. People get immersed into achieving success and getting money, but they are not happy and they have to quit and they have to leave and they have to isolate. Um, so I've been in one island in Sicily for over 10 years. I used to go there many times a year, mainly in summer. That part of my life almost closed by 2016. But over 10 years, it was a place where I've seen artists, where I've seen managers and directors retrieving their abandoning big cities and starting a life in nature, just working from distance or doing some work. Um, some of them resigned completely. So there is a loss of a whole career after a whole career or years of investment. They stop um, believing in that kind of life, the hectic life, the stress, the running, the big city, the noise, meeting people, talk about work at work and talk about work at home. And it's on and on. And then all of a sudden they say, I need to go back to nature. I need to go somewhere I can see myself, my children, myself, my partner or husband or wife. Um, so why do people reach this point? Why in finance and money isn't it enough? Why is all calling towards more, going back to that organic kind of life? So it's easy to get into the trap of everyday life endeavor and quest for success and money. How can we balance that? How can we, from the start, be self-aware of what we need and regulate our emotions to achieve success, but also to continue to be human and to feel empathy? Because I've seen documentaries and programs talking about how empathy, how helping people um, generate a hormone that helps people to relax, to be successful, to be happy. So helping others, not about only accumulating money and success. So emotional intelligence also helps navigate social interactions effectively, also interactions at work. After all, we're working with people, that's social interaction. Um, make some decisions that are not affected by um, dark emotions or emotions or like stress and challenges of everyday life. So we're going to see how emotional intelligence plays a crucial role in both personal and professional success. In personal life, AI helps individuals build strong relationships by knowing the other. Yes, we need to know the other. It's not how we perceive the other. We need to really listen actively and understand the other part, communicate effectively what we want and what things should be or how we perceive things and we portray them. So manage interpersonal conflict at work, for example. How can a manager So a director manage people's conflicts in a company and in life without knowing the emotions, the character, the quality of the people. What we will get at the end is very important because it balances our quest for success. It will create this balance, this mental well-being, um, resilience. It's very important to be resilient and to somehow achieve happiness. Although I have my own understanding and of happiness and definition of happiness. In the professional sector, also, it's key factor in leadership. So when leaders go, sometimes, and this is in my previous experience and job, for and leadership and liaise, they are exposed to studying how to resolve conflicts, for example, problem solving, how to put the team together, how to build teams, how to help people advance in their careers based on emotional intelligence. Um, so, how can emotional intelligence help people? And even what is the shape of emotional intelligence? Um, so, we have specific ideas about emotional intelligence. Um, so we know it everywhere. We have this idea of emotional intelligence being based on four skills. So self-awareness, being aware of your strengths, first of all, is the key. This is the most important skill. The self-awareness is when you are reflected in your life, in your work, and you know yourself properly. And it's not easy. It's something that I've been studying years and years. I think since 2003 that I started psychoanalytical approaches, um, and later on I published about literature and psychoanalytical approaches. So the first research I had conducted and submitted was in 2004, and it was the meta-poetic and poetic self-consciousness in an American poet work, and that helped me a lot and really shaped my career from the start in my early 20s to understand how things aren't done spontaneously as we think. Words don't come easy. They come from a whole work of our brain that leads to what we say or do or feel. Um, so what we feel at the moment comes from our past experience, from our traumas, from our childhood, from adulthood experience and teen experience. Everything shapes us, and our studies also have changed our brains and put us in a condition of understanding or consciousness that sometimes biases our true understanding. There is a zone that affects us, and it's the unconscious. And we don't know how things are working and why we get one thing or reacted in a way unless we understand ourselves. So self-awareness, what you really want, what your strengths are, um, your weaknesses. Sometimes people don't want to talk about weakness. No, I don't have a weakness. I'm a successful person. I'm a manager. I'm a leader. I'm a man. I'm a strong person. I'm mainly manly ideas come from society. And it's not something sometimes I don't see it as strength, but I see it as vulnerability from many friends, male friends who have to answer to society. They just feel compelled. They can't cry, they can't show their emotions. So they don't know the weaknesses because they just say, I don't have a weakness. How can I have a weakness? And then core values. What are your true values that you develop? And sometimes you see people who never talk about their values, even themselves. And self-awareness is something that you have to do within yourself. An introspective journey where you have to discover your realness and your past and present and how they intersect and how they produce you, this present you. Who are you? So this is a good question. It's really tricky and difficult to answer. Sometimes, most of the time, we need help really to understand ourselves properly, or we need to reflect a lot and um, use specific ways and tools clearly to understand ourselves. So, and how all these affect my decisions, reactions, and actions in the company. So it's all built together. I think that the human being misunderstands emotions. I think the most difficult part of the human being are emotions because no science can really define them. No medicine can cure emotions. Um, we can get help, but not really solve the issue unless we really know ourselves. Then, if you know yourself, you can regulate it. Everything can be learned. It's possible. So the ability to manage and control your emotions and process behaviors in various situations. I had people approaching me in my job saying, I remember one of my employees came and said, I get upset all the time. I get angry. I don't know how to control it. How can I control my anger? And, it was a nice conversation. Um, and it's very humane, humble, um, to show vulnerability, to find the most difficult thing to do because it requires a lot of bravery, courage to say that. So yeah, I was really heartened to see that I could reach one of my employees, not one, but um, came to me and opened up, and that's very nice. So social awareness is another element to also work on if you want to be emotionally intelligent. So understanding and empathizing the emotions, perspectives, and needs of others. So others, now I'm not only myself, I'm not understanding myself only. That's the very first step. I can't understand anyone or regulate my behavior if I don't understand myself. But once I get that and regulate myself, now I have to regulate my behavior with the others. Because some people reach this point, they understand themselves, they get to regulate themselves, they achieve success emotionally, how to say, emotionally intelligently manage and regulate their behavior. But still, when it comes to others, I have noticed, for example, in some situations, and dealt with these issues in the past, if someone comes to me and says, um, so I feel attacked all the time in my job. I feel like my position is in danger. I fear a lot. And that was after sessions of talking and trying to get what's the problem with you? Why is this aggressive behavior and micromanaging people and doing all this stuff? What's going on? Only coming from his fear. And then we went deep and we knew where this came from, but still, as you can see, it's hard to get it by yourself. Sometimes you don't know that it's fear. all the anger and that strength and wanting to do stuff and put people in their places. And if someone discusses a decision, to show them and all that stuff, just simply you are so afraid to feel right, to lose what where you are now because maybe that person, at least I am sure, because we had the conversations and we had our moments to know what's going on. Um, Insecurity coming from abandonment, and um, that's a long story, but many reasons are coming from emotions, from wounds that you couldn't heal because you got them at an early age and you didn't have the strategy, how to cure these and heal these wounds, but you just got on with them and carried on. So yeah, many things are going on with social awareness. It's the other now, managing the other without fear. Yeah, so relationship management is also defined as building and maintaining healthy and mutual relationship, beneficial relationships with others. So it somehow works with social awareness, but it's different. The first one is awareness, what causes what. This one is effective, is how to now, now that you're aware of your social behavior and what is behind it, you will manage now. It's the regulation of the social relationships. And the fifth one that has been added to research was and is, of course, here it's not present, but later on I mention it, motivating others, how to motivate yourself and others. Motivating is really an important skill to carry on, to not close up, not to resign and leave a tiny island where you escape fight or flight. So yeah, let's move on. So let's start with self-awareness. With self-awareness, we also in these details, because you look at the mirror and you try to see yourself, you try to understand who you are, your own emotions, where they come from, these emotions and these thoughts, these behaviors, where, what causes them. And so, as I said, it includes being aware of your strengths, weaknesses, values, and beliefs. And it leads you to be in tune with these feelings and motivation. So knowledge is important. But when you know what causes all this, you will always be playing in your brain. And there is a skill, there is a training that you go through yourself, and every time you controlling your brain, when it goes to that zone of fear, you say, I'm gonna have because I fear, because I have yeah, now I know it. It's because it's coming from my previous experience. I want to control, have anxiety. I need to have everything under control. Otherwise, I feel unsafe. So it's all about things coming from our story, our history, experiences. Yeah, so they can accurately assess um, people can accurately assess their strengths and areas for growth. Areas for growth, what we call weaknesses. Everyone has areas for growth or development, and this requires management skills, requires realistic goals, and think about informed choices. And choices we've made in our life were informed, were emotional, impulsive in one area. It's not always perfect. you, you do something choices where you'll have to think about what consequence, not the end of it, not the end of the world doing it, how to manage them, how to improve in that area. So, so we go into some case here, okay, study. Um, but I'm not going to do this because uh, I prepared this for a workshop. So I'd rather go to more detail about self-awareness goes inside your inner self and your memories. So, like a stitch, I love this one, where the cat looks at itself in the mirror and sees a lion. So this obsession of grandeur recently can change the world, mainly when we are at a younger age. We think, yeah, I can do it. I I change the world. I shout or say something, demonstrate, and that feeling withers with age. But still, it's not the real image of yourself. It's not the reality. It's not the truth of what you can achieve. So, kindness is the greatest agents for change. Now they always have said the core, the essence of success is change. And to change, the core, the essence of change is flexibility, adaptability. So if you want to improve in anything, you can do it. Only if you are open to change, you're flexible and adaptable. Yeah, so I hope this is helping. Um, Yeah, so some activities I would invite in the future today is a guided meditation focused on self-awareness, where participants may be instructed to sit comfortably in a quiet place and close their eyes. And so in that case, we have um, to think about like how to breathe first of all and open up and relax and feel these sensations of relaxation will open up, will help the brain to function in a different way, where there is no tension, no adrenaline, or no cortisol, not high levels of them in the blood. So when we calm them, and these hormones, unfortunately, they it's known in psychology they put you in a cognitive zone, an unconscious zone. It's not the conscious you when you are in a high tension pressure, cortisol high in your blood. It takes your brain, it shuts the conscious part, it shuts the civilized me, it takes to the primitive zone where things are difficult, you are in a difficult place and you react. And that's what um, is not helpful in these situations. So when you relax completely, you end the tension, you breathe slowly, and you are focused on the present. And this is meditation, as you know. And at that moment, you're encouraged to notice thoughts, emotions, or physical sensations that arise, acknowledging them without judging and allowing them to pass by like clouds in the sky. So you just um, relax, and then after that you think deeply about what happened, what caused it, what happened in the past that can cause this? What are three qualities or characteristics that you see in yourself that cause this? So from your experiences, how, for example, can you compare this and contrast it with another situation in the present or in the past? And the most effective way is to start with effective journaling. Journaling. So if you start journaling about these weaknesses and strengths about yourself, and you say, for example, I'm doing this, I'm good in doing this, and why then I can't manage the situation? What's going on? What inhibits me? And then you work on areas to improve and you see them, you highlight them. It's very, very important that they are written. As you know, you go to doctors and psychologists, and the first thing they say, you need to be journaling, that you need to write them down. So you're invited to write about yourself, notice and write. So by noticing what you're doing, you're the best companion for yourself first, hopefully. And you take note of how you reacted in a certain situation and see and notice these patterns go in the past and compare with other situations, similar situations that happened, and see where you can stop them. And the awareness of them will help a lot. Um, so I'd like to share with you this um, video. The power of emotional intelligence. Hopefully it will work. I don't know if it's going to work. Let's try. When it's working, and hopefully no publicity come in. It's very short and nice. So we watch it and then put it together. As you can see, this author, Daniel Coleman, is a pioneer, one of the pioneers in founding fathers of this notion of emotional intelligence. So I admire the way the topic is treated with Coleman and how it's developing and showing a lot of advancement in this development in this area and field, which is not guaranteed today as it is. Um, so some of the strategies within and coaching, mentoring my employees and my colleagues, of course, in the past and in the present, hopefully. I help other people. It's my endeavor. This is what I love most. Um, is to manage emotions in cross-cultural settings. Um, so it's very important to consider that cultural differences can be or an obstacle in companies and in the workplace in general. Uh, it won't help people to get together. It won't. There is a lack of understanding. There is a lack of understanding even of our own cultures and what our cultures aren't helping us in understanding where we are. So I think it's crucial to reach this point and see what um, emotional intelligence in different cultural contexts. There is a lot of understanding needed and a lot of empathy and sympathy. We cannot reach sympathy without empathy. So many people would ask, what is empathy at this time? Um, what do we, how do we reach empathy? Well, just talk a little bit to focus on ourselves. It's about mainly focusing about the others and seeing in this context when we reach this level of our intelligence to know how the others um, are different in their perspective. Shouldn't be wrong or right, it's just different. So we can give a cross-cultural scenarios, for example, about different cultural norms and communication styles influence and how they influence team members in their expression and management of their emotions. Uh, for example, we can have a team, we have Sarah, so this is something, sorry for the camera sometimes it's not working properly because of internet, so bear with me. So in a context where we have, for example, I had someone, let's call her Farah, for priority, recognizes the cultural differences, communication styles, and emotional expression with her team. And she facilitates let's say, constructive dialogue and constructive building positive dialogue by acknowledging and validating both perspectives while emphasizing the importance of mutual respect and understanding. Uh, this happens because Sarah has two people from two different cultures. So one of them, through just the privacy, but uh, one of the team member is from an Asian background, and they really prioritize preserving relationships and avoiding confrontation. Uh, they have these subtle expressions of agreement um, reflected in their cultural value of harmony and indirect communication prevailing in the context and culture. They had a conflict with the other team, very expressive of frustration, complaining all the time. Um, so they see the subtlety of the other team member as a lack of transparency or engagement in the discussion. So they see that you're not engaged, you're not taking it seriously, and they started to accuse each other of these cultural differences. But what happened is just we had Sarah trying to plan this multi national team and work with them, showing that focusing on finding common ground and collaboratively brainstorming solutions. They integrate diverse viewpoints. So just explaining to the members of staff and team these differences, to be just aware of them. It will help communication. It will help understanding and empathy. Empathy. Um, so by this example, I wanted to show how emotional intelligence and cultural knowledge of the other can help a lot in solving problems in a team. Uh, so this is one of the ideas that I want to deal with and reinforce in my team all the time when I talk about emotional intelligence and cultural mapping and cultural emotion mapping. So yeah, there is a lot to do. There is also another part I want to cover today is strategies for enhancing emotional intelligence. So the strategies are definitely, and first of all, above all, practice active listening. So you need to listen to people when they speak to you, listen actively, just listen and feel. It's not hearing a voice and then telling them what you want them to do. Listening to them and take on board what they are saying and show them really that it's the intention to implement solutions to meet them and make them feel um, and truly make them at their ease within the possibilities, of course. Active listening and taking notes is very, very important. If you don't take notes, not a problem. At least you listen, you know what the person is trying to say, and check by summarizing. And by summarizing and saying it back to them, it helps you understand what they are saying because they will explain it. If you're not getting it, they will explain it again. But at the same time, they will confirm that you've been there listening, and it makes them feel more at ease with you because listening is crucial here. And when you listen to people, try to sometimes, even if you're not from the same idea, you don't share it, you don't feel it, but cultivate empathy. Put yourself in their shoes. Um, just close your eyes, relax, and put yourself in their situation. And remember the frustration or the voice or the anger or they were upset and they were telling you I couldn't manage this, and I've been there and I'm struggling, I'm frustrated. Listen to those and feel it, feel that part. But empathy will help you, lead you to find the right decision and solution. And develop emotional resilience. So emotional resilience is key also in having this patience of emotional patience to stop and continue and what to say by stop is reflective, stop to reflect, to know where you are, to um, critically situate your emotions and say, okay, done this because I have to manage it better. So this resilience, emotional resilience, continue, carrying on, feeling and listening what the others are saying. And mainly another strategy which is really important and crucial once you know all that part and you do it, you need to foster positive relationship. You need to be constructive. The decisions are inclusive, constructive, positive, make it happy somehow, everyone slightly. So, for example, if someone comes and says, I can't understand the decision of my colleague, he or she, they have decided to do this to the employee, and they couldn't see that they did this and this and this. So you understand, for example, because you've been very emotionally present, that one of your the other part was part of the team is passionate about achieving and just honestly wanting to do something about it. So you know also that in that way of being passionate and wanting to do stuff, they couldn't see some element or they couldn't behave in a way to make happy the other one. So in that case, for example, it happened. I um said to the first member of the team who's passionate, thank you for doing this. I nice all what you're doing and I see how you're doing well and thinking about the details and trying hard and I'm so happy and positive about it. At the same time, if you consider doing this and this and this, it will help the other part of the team member of the team to thrive and see it and be supported in it and you make them all feel they are um, taken seriously, the efforts and they are included in the decision, recognized, appreciated. So in that way, even if the first team member isn't going to be happy 100% because you're saying what to do about that. Other member feel that they didn't do it in the right way, but they are also happy because you recognize their emotions and their endeavor and their hard work. So it's very important that we develop and cultivate these strategies and think about them. So at this point, the hour is ending, and I wanted to cover more, but this is just a taste. And I hope it's helpful. And I like to see you more. And thank you very, very much for listening to this one. Thank you. Thank you for next session.